Hi, I'm Nikki, the Obsessive Bookseller. Welcome to my channel. Today, I'd like to review Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This was our first Patreon book club pick, and it surpassed all of my expectations. This is the best book I have read so far this year. And if you caught my Project Sci-Fi, you've already heard me geek out about it a little bit, but I can't seem to stop talking about it. I loved it that much. I have a very conservative list of about 30 titles that are my all-time favorites of everything I've read, and this one was good enough to make that list as well. Several things about it really worked for me. First of all, I love the type of sci-fi that focuses heavily on biology and creature creation. It's that element of world building that I usually have to read a fantasy novel to get, but there are some sci-fis that have such good flora and fauna and imagination that, yeah, I can get my kick from a sci-fi book. This one had that in abundance. So not only was the biology fascinating, but the world creation and this anthropological approach where you see the development of a species over time and different technological advances. So cool to read about. And there were some things I saw this author do very early on that instilled this huge confidence in me in his ability to deliver a good story. I spotted some what I think are incredible writing challenges, things where if I were trying to write this story, I would have really struggled with how to do it well. For example, multi-generational stories tend to put the reader at an arm's distance because by the time you get connected to a character, you switch. It jumps, and so you don't have that connection throughout the whole book. He had such a brilliant, simple solution to that problem that I was able to maintain my connection with the characters through the whole book and feel the momentum of their story as a species and not just as individuals at the same time. It's brilliant. There were a couple of other things, like with the timeline of the humans, their side of the story. I thought that was handled incredibly intelligently as well, so I loved everything about it. While reading this book, I found out that the author studied both zoology and psychology in college, and I love it when authors take their outside professions and use it to enhance their stories. And those are two subjects that appeal to me so wildly. Had I not gone the practical route and gone for business, I would have majored in one of those two things because I am just fascinated with everything about them. So it seems like I have an author match made in heaven, and so it all came down to, can he stick the landing? And oh my gosh, I thought he stuck the landing great. I love where the story culminated. I love the pacing throughout the whole thing. I thought the action was well placed. All of it. It all just came together into this beautiful little package. And I left the book going, whoa, I'm going to be geeking out about this one for years to come. I love what I just read. A very rare but well-deserved solid 5 out of 5 stars for me for this one. Tchaikovsky kind of reminds me of Brandon Sanderson in the sense that he's got just a prolific writer, has so many different types of books out, and it seems like something in there would appeal to a little bit for everybody. And for me, seeing as I loved this one so much and seeing the smorgasbord of different series that I can dive into from him, I cannot wait. It seems like a potential match made in heaven, so we'll see if that holds up. Okay, now let's talk about other books you might like. I can't have a sci-fi video without recommending Planetside by Michael Mamet. This is one of the few that also made my all-time list of favorites. Solid 5 stars. I love the momentum in this book. I love the witty dialogue. I love the characters. Killer ending, basically everything in one little compact package, and one of my all-time favorites. There's not a lot of similarities in story, but as far as my caliber of quality, yeah, love this one. Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. I think what I love the most about Children of Time was the anthropological approach and kind of getting down to the basic motivations of people, regardless of if it's human people or not. And that was my main draw to this series. There are a lot of grand scale things going on, but the true takeaway from this series for me was the focus on basic, relatable emotion and drive and motive. And so while Children of Time was a complete package for me with everything I love to see in a sci-fi, this one is, in my opinion, a brilliant character study, and yeah, can't recommend it highly enough. And speaking of cool creature creation, my all-time favorite is Julie Chernita, biologist turned writer, and you can see that influence in her writing, which is obviously why it reminds me of Tchaikovsky. And I've pulled 2 series here. So the migration series starting with survival is my favorite. I love the rich flora and fauna, the aliens were fantastic, and the plot was just a lot of fun. Like, this one to me is like quintessential Cernita and my favorite. I love the humor. She's got this excellent dry humor that she puts in everything as well. But then for the one that's the most like Children of Time, this is called Reap the Wild Wind. It's the very first chronological book in the Trade Pact universe, and it takes place on an isolated planet where you can see the development of these people over time and their different cultures, and the aliens were phenomenal. So if you like Children of Time, but you wanted the alien-spider interaction to be a little stronger, like, definitely check this one out. This will give you all the things. And there's the review. I want to take a minute to thank my patrons. Thank you so much for supporting all of my content. I really appreciate you. And thank you for picking Children of Time for me, because an all-time favorite is something I don't come across very often, so I'm grateful. And thank you everyone for watching. I hope to catch you next time. Bye.